What is up, guys? Yesterday I went on a nice drive which ended in a little bit of a disaster. The pipe just down here attaches to this diverter valve to the new charge pipe in red that we put in. It's like a push clip, I'm not sure what you call them. It's not Jubilee, the ones that spin, and it's got a screwdriver bit or a socket. You use like a pincer thing and it just blew off. So that is super annoying because getting your hands down here to the back to try and unclip it. I don't have the unclipper tool, which is on a wire, so I'm going to order a set of them just in case it happens again. Basically means I need to take off the whole airbox, which is really annoying because you have to take the ECU out, the air filter all the way back, and then this piece is going to have to come off, and then I'm going to try and have to fit it again. One thing that did happen, which is quite nice, the automotive gods rained down on me, and my Eventuri intake came 2 days earlier. It was meant to come on Friday. So all is not lost. This has got to come out anyway. So the only thing extra is this has to come out to fix it, put the pipe back on. So we're going to start with disassembling the airbox, ECU out the way, take this pipe out, try and get this off. Now I'll do a quick sound check. I don't know whether it's going to affect it because there is a small boost leak, or quite a large boost leak, but I don't have a clip of the before, how it sounds stock. So I'm going to try my best, do a little rev, and then we'll do a sound check after we've got the new intake on. First I'm removing the 4 screws holding the ECU in, and then the cable attached to the battery cover, as well as the cable ties attached to the cable. Now I can lift up the ECU and put it to the side and get the next 4 screws out at the top of the airbox cover, take off the top cover and loosen the 2 Jubilee clips holding the air filter and the inlet tube in. Next I'm removing the bottom tray of the intake, and this is what it looks like once everything's taken out. Now I'm removing the engine and battery cover. So I know there's a screw here which I'm going to struggle getting out, so I'm going to undo this and see if this plastic cover will come off. And then I believe there's 2 more. There's one there, you can kind of just see it, and I think there's one just here, and so there's 4 holding that in place, and obviously I have to undo all this. Removing the covers for the battery isn't too hard. It's just 1 single bolt for the front cover and then a cable you have to pull out. Now I'm starting to remove everything that's attaching to the inlet tube. So I've taken this cover off here. I just had to unplug this because that went through it. And then I'm going to take this off to try and get to these screws here. Now I've just learned that's the pyro fuse. So I'm going to disconnect the battery, and there's a bolt down here, which it looks like someone's already taken off and not put the nut back on, but I'll double check and let you know. This will come off, and then this whole side bit here should come out. I shouldn't have to remove the battery, and we can get to the screws to this. Maybe even I can get my hand in and try and rearrange the pipe. We won't have to take this off, but I'll see what happens when we get this pyro fuse off. Removing this wasn't too hard. All I had to do was disconnect the battery. So like I thought, just on this bolt here, there was a nut. Someone's been in it before and not replaced it. But this is the pyro fuse. That's off now. I've just got to find the clips to undo this bit, and then we should have access to the bolt just here. There was a few clips on the left that needed releasing, and then everything lifted out. So in the end, because that bolt that was on here, or the nut that was missing, all you had to do was pick it up, and then that's this piece here, and I've kind of put it out of the way. I'm going to take this off, and then we'll have a lot more space to reach down here. Maybe we can reattach the pipe to this, or maybe this still has to come out, but let's see. So as these two tabs, I managed to get this one off with my hand, and then this one I just gently pried with this chisel, and now we have a lot more room. So removing all that made it way easier to get to the bolts. There's one on the right and there's one just at the back, and I'm now removing everything else attached to the inlet. We've got all of this out now. This is the turbo inlet or elbow, whatever you want to call it, and this part here is what came off, and it just goes on that piece here, so there's not really any chance I could get to that. I should have done this when I put the pipe in, just take everything out. It is a lot easier to get to everything. I'm not sure about putting it back together, but I had to do this whatever because I'm getting the Eventuri intake just in that box there. We're going to put that on in a minute, but we've got to get this back in, which was a pain to get out, and I don't really have a tool to get this clip on, but I have got a plan. So as you can see, there is a bit of oil. Now that is obviously from the turbo. How much oil is like a worrying amount. I do have plans to upgrade the turbo eventually, and obviously not this quick, but fingers crossed it doesn't blow. One other thing I did notice, because I didn't know what was wrong originally, I thought maybe the turbo had blown. There is a bit of play in that. Again, let me know in the comments below, is that bad? Should we be replacing it? What's your advice? I have aligned the clip so I can try my best to get these needle nose pliers down the back of here and try and shimmy the clip on. I don't have the wire clip undoer thingies. I'm going to order some just in case it happens again or future projects. But we're going to put this back into here. It's a bit of a mess. I think this might be the longest part. And then we're going to go open the Eventuri intake and get that put in. Let's get started. Now the hose is on, I'm slotting the inlet back into place and trying to line up the rubber hose the best I can to make it easier when I try and put the clip back on. That's the pipe just there, and I'm going to get these pliers underneath. I'll put the clamp on top, I'm going to try and pinch it and then pull it into place. Wish me luck. The camera quality did go downhill here. I am using battery powered lights for now, and some of them did start to die, but I struggled with it and eventually we got it on. Just down the back there, that white stripe. I can't tell you how happy I am to do that. I'm going to get this all plugged back in, and then fingers crossed, we'll have the car started soon. Putting it back together was pretty simple. It's just everything I did earlier in reverse. This was the first time taking the car apart properly like this, and it's always a tricky one, but once you've done it once, you kind of know what you're doing. I'm just putting the terminals back on, giving everything a wipe, making sure it's clean before putting it back together. There's the front cover and final bolt. Put the elbow back in, everything's snugged up, all of the hoses are on. Looks really good. We've got this cover back on, that just goes around the outside, so I unplugged it again. Pyro fuse is back. I'm not going to put the battery cover on just yet. I'm going to open the intake and then see what we need to do, and then if we can put the battery cover on, then we'll do that. But this is going to be a nice little addition to the car. This is the mount for the ECU. It comes in two pieces and it has a nut and a bolt. I'm just attaching it here. There's 6 bolts included in the kit, 4 short ones and 2 long ones. The first 2 short bolts connect the mounting bracket together, and now I'm going to connect the ECU to the mounting bracket with the second 2. I realised it was much easier just to disconnect the ECU cables because there's quite a lot of tension on them. So that's what I'm doing here. You've got to take this off, I think, and then there's 2 bolts under here which I believe are going to screw into those bits, and it'll mount it straight to the chassis just there. Mounting the ECU was much easier with all the cables taken off as well. This first one was a bit tricky, it had a lot of tension on it, but a little bit of perseverance and it went in. The rest of them seemed to only fit in the socket they were designed for, so that made it quite easy to get the right ones in. So we've got the ECU back in. It doesn't seem like this first one's gonna bend, but what I did, I loosened these off. I pushed this, because it has some leeway, as far as I could towards the battery. Tightened it up, and it did give me a couple more, like, I don't know, 5 mil or something. I mean, it is very tight, but they must know what they're doing. All these are back in. Next, it's the piece that comes onto here. This fit perfectly, clipped in really nice. Now I'm going to remove the plastic case and the cable ties on the cables. Keep the top plastic cover, because that's going to get put back on at the very end. It's just like a little warning sticker. And I made a mistake here. I actually cable tied it back together, and I should have waited, because as you'll see in a minute, there is another cable that I should have put into that group. To put the main part of the intake in, push the rubber hose all the way onto the carbon, and it makes it drop down much easier. It seems very strange, but this is just like a push seal, like pressure. Doesn't screw in. I don't know about the other intakes, but it seems to be sealed. It is literally touching it. It is a very snug fit, but I'm hoping it's going to work. I should have waited to cable tie this, because this now won't fit on there. If I shove it down here, might be able to fit there, so I'm going to try that now. If you read the instructions Eventuri send you, this is the way the cable should go. Before we put this cover on, I'm going to give it a quick start up. Moment of truth. So it has a cool sound, like whooshing sound. I'm just going to we're in the garage, so I'll do one quick little blip, see how it sounds. Hopefully this doesn't move too much and it keeps it still. Well, let's see. So it's the next morning. I took it for a quick drive after I finished last night. It sounds ace. Loads of cool sounds coming from it, but it did slightly move a little bit, and there's a gap where the seal is, but I don't think that should really matter, because there's a load of vents cut in the intake anyway, which it attaches to this front bit, and people have open cone fillers anyway. I'm going to put the shield on. I didn't put that, and there was the turbo heat shield as well, which is over here, which I haven't put on. The hardest part about this was not dropping the nuts and bolts in the engine bay. Thankfully, that didn't happen this time, and I just wound them on finger tight, then went in with a spanner and a ratchet to tighten them up. This one would have been easier if I'd done it before putting the intake in, but I managed it anyway. The last part now, just putting the turbo heat shield on, using the original hardware, and finally the engine cover. And it is done. So, I'll give it a quick clean, nothing too crazy. You can see the yellow actually looks really, really cool. What do you think? Should I keep this wrap for a bit longer, this black? Or should we go full unwrap and see what the yellow looks like? Because I haven't seen it in person yet, but judging by how it comes out, I think it could look pretty cool. So let me know. Give everything a wipe down, turbo shields back on. This, as with everything, is a little bit awkward, but it looks cool. I'll let you know how it gets on once we've driven it a little bit. But that's the second mod to the A45. There's a few boxes here, a few over that side that you can't see. Lots of bits in there for this car, and then there's a few bits for the Audi as well. So keep watching if you're interested in where we take this build and the Audi. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.
A rich man's world.